Morning, Suter.
Sup, G?
What's up with Suter?
Not much. Not much. It's yapping with Debbie,
Yeah?
avoiding Hunter.
We got to go out and get our... oh, by the way, well, they won't know anyway. YouTubers, we took a break because we're going to record this allhawkeyes.com segment. It will be up on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That means we can't play songs then, doesn't it?
Yeah, we can't play songs. No songs.
So that takes something out of our toolbox.
Yeah. Or else we have to, we can't leave it up there if we play songs.
Yeah. Okay. Can do that.
Yeah. So if we play songs, we just dump it.
Yep. Dump it.
Yeah, just dump it. So anyway.
So one more day at the fair.
Yeah?
Hunter doing the lion's share of the broadcasting out there. Good work, Mr. Hunter.
Yeah. Elaine will be there.
And I came out and did my barnyard sounds yesterday, which I thought were very helpful.
We'll go get the steak sandwiches.
I may get a burger. I haven't had one of their burgers.
Well, I'm sticking with the steak.
That's fine. I had one and it was
I might
delicious.
have two steaks. Be quite honest with you.
You can do it.
Yeah, I can do it. I'm 69 years old. I can do what the hell I want to do.
Is 69 still divine?
No.
No.
It sucks. No.
Yeah, 69's taking on a different meaning, hasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, it flows.
And that takes on a different meaning.
So how was your evening?
My evening was wonderful.
Yeah. What'd you do?
We went down to the casino.
Win?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Big? Giant?
Not giant.
Good?
Very good,
Yeah?
I would say. I think about 700.
God, well, that to me would be real good.
That's
Yeah.
real good.
Yeah.
If I can do that every time I go down there, then I'll go down there every day. Unfortunately, it doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't.
And then went home and had made a grilled cheese and bacon sandwich for Ann and I, and they were delicious. And then I would like to say we went down and watched HGTV until we got sleepy, but we went out on our porch and read our books.
I was watching. No, I got sucked in with the tape. I got sucked in to CNN, and I hadn't watched CNN for an evening in a long time because it depresses me.
Yeah,
and I got sucked in with the tape of even
See,
though
that's just it's
it
nothing.
won't mean anything.
It means nothing.
No.
Who cares?
Well, here's what it really means: is you've got two people in a room, and neither one of them are trustworthy.
Of course, no, and neither of them are trustworthy.
It is kind of like one of those episodes of The Sopranos where there are no heroes and nothing comes of it.
Yeah, no.
And The Sopranos had a lot of those episodes
Yeah,
where nothing came of it.
yeah.
You know, like the one where they're chasing the Russian in the woods.
Yes.
And you're expecting, and nothing came of it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, my take on it is we know that Donald Trump's not a good husband. Fair enough?
Yes.
All right. And we know that his mouth is not a prayer book. Fair enough?
Yes.
Other than that, I don't care.
Well, we know that
I don't
if you
care
got
about his sex
something
life.
to hide, you don't go to Cohen.
I don't care about his sex life. It means nothing.
No, it's
Nothing.
No. What about Hardy's sex
It should
life?
matter to Melania and her family, and that's it. It's
about-
none of my business.
What about Hardy?
Pat doesn't care.
No, it was his sex life.
I'm guessing he's not going to go there. So are we still doing this?
Yes.
Okay.
We have to do that. That's his podcast.
We can't play songs anymore. That sucks.
It does
Well,
suck.
we can play songs, but then
Then we can't put it on YouTube.
yeah,
sucks.
you can't. Well, That's
I didn't realize that.
That's the.
Why is that? Is that some copyright thing?
It's
or?
a copyright thing.
Why didn't
I don't know.
Ustream care?
We
They
could
don't-
fight it probably, but
Well, no, you can't fight it because you can't get anybody at YouTube.
Why is it different than Ustream?
I don't know. It's a YouTube thing.
well, YouTube is a music service for one. I mean, it's
It's a lot more than that.
Okay, but
I know.
we pay the rights to play it on the air, and we pay the rights to disseminate it on the internet.
that's right.
So that's how we can disseminate it on the internet live. But once it's recorded, they figure,
Then it's a different set of
I
rules.
guess, yeah. And we never recorded with Ustream our shows, other than a Pat show, and I don't know.
And our interviews.
Yeah, it's just a different landscape.
Yeah.
So,
We'll have to figure out other ways to.
well, I mean, you can have your podcast.
Well, no, I know, but it's just not going to have any music on it, which is.
Well, it
Just
can
too
have
bad.
music on it, but you just won't have we just won't save the YouTube.
So you can either have it on YouTube and no music, or no YouTube and music. Those are the two options.
Yeah.
Well, you guys are actually giving me a decision.
This is your decision. You can have it on YouTube.
I'd rather have music and have it on iTunes and all Hawkeyes than, to be honest with you, since we're going the self-serving route. But we don't need to discuss that on the air.
Well, we already did.
Well, we'll discuss it later. But no, if you're giving me the choice, that's the choice I
If
would
there's
make.
any music played on here, I'll just dump the YouTube. But some people like to see you.
I haven't heard that.
Oh yeah, I've heard it.
I've heard more people
Yeah,
say
there's
they-
like a lot of
say if
teenagers.
they'd had their choice between seeing and listening,
Yeah.
they'd take listening, and they're not really high on that either. But, well,
I
but no,
talked to a-
that's you guys can discuss it later. But yeah, that would be my choice because we do play a lot of music.
Well, then I just won't. Then we just won't separate it anymore, and we won't have it on YouTube.
Well, the ones that we don't, it's
so
not
then
like we
the
play.
only saved things we'll have on YouTube is Rex.
It's not like we play a lot of music. It's not the shows that we don't play music.
Can't play any music.
Well, the shows that you don't play music on, put them on YouTube. You can just go for each. Because I mean, it's not really. Doesn't, I'd say probably 3 out of 4 shows we don't play music.
So are you going to save like the interviews with the dog people?
No, we don't. No, I can't.
Why can't you save those?
Because then I got to stop it, then I got to start it again, then I got to stop it.
Well,
It
heaven
just-
forbid.
No, it makes a difference because then you lose your audience.
Yeah.
Every time you start it and stop it, you're going to lose.
So you didn't have to start it and stop
Yes.
it when it was with Ustream?
No.
Man.
No, it was 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We can't do that on YouTube.
Wow.
Well, we can go back to Ustream and pay $100 plus every minute for every listener that it comes out to be $1,000.
$1,000 every 10 minutes. I mean, it's ridiculous.
No, it was like every 2.5 hours.
It was
It
ridiculous.
was $984.
But that's all you really need to do, isn't it? Shows where we don't. Oh, and play music.
Let's get started, Captain Steve.
Should we get started? You got me lost. Okay. No, that isn't it. Yeah, that is it. Okay.
From the Hertine and Stalker Studios in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
Hertine and Stalker Jewelers, making memories, making moments.
Here is your KCJJ forecast today. Mostly sunny this morning, becoming partly cloudy this afternoon. We're headed to 86 for a high today. Wind northwest, switching to the south later this afternoon. About 5 to 15 here today. Tonight, scattered showers and thunderstorms. A couple of those could be strong to severe. Our low tonight down to 65. Tomorrow, partly cloudy. It'll be cooler and less humid. Our high right around 77. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. It's 74 degrees right now.
Weather brought to you by the Westport Touchless Auto Washes at Walmart in Iowa City, Coralville's Hy-Vee. All Hawkeyes, excuse me, allhawkeyes.com brought to you by Premier Automotive in North Liberty. Hit a deer, call Premier. Steve Anderson, Hawkeye Title and Settlement. Mike's Lock and E-Keys for cars. GT Car and his crew at Supple Siding and Remodeling. Sittler's LED Supplies. Supple's Flowers, the home of 1-800-800-ROSE. The Ox Yoke Inn. Zephyr's Printing and Design and Printed Ink on the Ped Mall. And Big Dog TV and Internet. serving all of eastern Iowa with Dish, DirecTV, Internet, and more. Don't call an 800 number. Call local. Call Big Dog, whether you're in Iowa City, Muscatine, Cedar Rapids, wherever. Call Big Dog. It's local.
Go big or go home, Steve.
Yeah. Here's Pat Harty from allhawkeyes.com.
Hi, Pat.
It's been a week. It's kind of weird.
Yeah.
It is kind of. So we should have an incredible amount of Hawkeye stuff to talk about.
Oh, yeah, because there was tons of news at the Big Ten
Just
Media Day. It was just drenched in news.
I will say there was one surprise for me when he announced the people leaving the program.
Nate Whelan?
Yes.
Just because he's local.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I haven't.
And I hadn't heard anything.
Well, I thought maybe Blair or somebody. I haven't seen him quoted, but I think he told somebody that he's going to go to JUCO in hopes of getting a Division I scholarship elsewhere. Now, Tyler was told by somebody who's so close to him that he dealt with a quad injury. This person thought at the time he was still on the team because it sounds like this was a somewhat recent development, but Nate was injured a lot last year.
Yeah.
I heard that he really dealt with injuries at City High. I mean, he was injured for a big chunk of his career at City High, but yeah, that one surprised me a little bit just because it was so soon and he's local. But the other ones, I mean, Cam Harrell, he's another freshman. You know, when a guy comes in wanting to play one position and then they move him, not necessarily because of anything he did on the field, because, maybe he's not as good at this position, let's try him here. That's what that one felt like to me.
And it didn't make a splash.
No, and he didn't. And I just kind of assumed most of this is playing time issues. Manny Wagamba's thing, I mean, everybody can spin it or paint it the way they want. It was playing time. He was getting beaten out by other guys despite what he had done early, and he didn't want to. I guess he figured, I'll go somewhere else and start. So it'll be interesting to see where he resurfaces.
Well, and fair enough. You know, I guess I don't fault him for that.
No, I mean, I think when he was suspended and struggled last year, there were times where he really struggled last year. I mean, he just was. His footwork wasn't good. He was out of position, and that one game Phil Parker took him out. Was that Purdue?
Yes.
But there was also another game where I remember him really struggling big time, and Matt Hankins just looked like he was kind of emerging as the next guy, was more consistent down the stretch, and then it also didn't help, I don't think, that Manny was suspended to start that. Mm-hmm. That doesn't do you any good, and I think it was just a combination of things, and like Kirk said, I think they both decided that a new environment would be best for both parties, and they have split. Now, the other injuries, I knew that Kyle Taylor, I thought about tweeting something when I saw, but I don't want to until you get confirmation. Because Seth Wallace tweeted a picture of the linebackers at his house for what looked like
he wasn't
there. And and that was right when you know they're all here. And oh, wow, Kyle Taylor's gone. And I hadn't heard anything about him. So, yeah, Kyle Taylor, Spencer Williams with concussions. We don't know what Taylor's injury was. And then, of course, Tokes Akron-Abadi. And I mean,
no surprise there.
No surprise there. And you just hope that he makes a full recovery and leads a good, productive life outside of football because, I mean, there's life after football. And so that's 8 guys. I mean,
interesting story about, at least to me, about Spencer Williams. We were going to Chicago, drove down to Mount Pleasant to take the Amtrak into Chicago, which we do semi-frequently. And of all things, Spencer Williams' father was in there.
Oh, really?
So we chatted him up for about a half an hour, and he said, just how excited.
How long ago was this?
This was 2 years ago.
Okay.
How excited Spencer was to be with the program and, felt that he would be able to make a splash at center and just, at that point it was all very positive and unfortunately it didn't work out that way.
No, injuries happen and that's just unfortunately part of the game now. I mean, he's going to stay at Iowa, so you just hope that he gets his degree and moves on. I mean, my brother's a good example. There's life after football injury. I mean, he never had a chance to play in a down at Iowa because of the staph infection. Now he's a successful lawyer, kept his scholarship. They keep you on scholarship. The opportunity to...
And he's made a buttload of money.
He's made,
theoretically.
He's a little ahead of me, let's just say that.
Well, that's okay, money's not everything.
Yeah, no,
right?
but it's sure close to everything.
Yeah, you can get everything with
it's
it.
Sure close to everything.
Yeah.
Captain,
you can get a playmate with it, evidently.
What would you choose between money and integrity, Captain?
Money.
I would. What would you choose?
What do you?
Well, integrity is important to me. I will say.
But you still didn't answer that question. You're
Well,
doing-
you have to have money to survive in this.
You're
I
doing,
have
I'm not a
lots of-
survivalist.
I
You're
have
doing-
lots
you're-
of integrity if I had money.
you're doing an Akram Wadley. You're
Yeah.
avoiding the tackle.
Yeah.
You're just you're dancing around in open field. It's a tough question, isn't it?
It is
Yeah.
a tough question.
So-
I mean,
How about the person in California that just won that lottery, and after taxes, it's $308 million, and they're joking because it was sold in an area that's just rife, or not rife, filled with millionaires because of the, the Silicon Valley stuff.
I
So they were
gotcha.
joking about how if it was like some $308 million after taxes. That's what it is, because it's like 500 and it's 10th big. I just heard it this
in
morning.
Silicon Valley, that's a tip.
Yeah, 300. Could you 308 million after taxes? One lump check. Just see
Yeah.
you later.
See you later.
YouTube this.
This would be our would be our last broadcast out of the KCJJ studios.
It would, like I said, it would be YouTube this. We'd be moving on.
Yeah.
I'd have a cabin up at Clear Lake so fast, and then I don't know where I'd spend the winters. I mean, winters in Clear Lake are a little tough.
Yeah, I wouldn't want
The
that.
snowmobile only goes so far. Seriously, it does. I used to go up there and have a good time and ride. Nothing more enjoyable than riding a snowmobile 60 miles per hour on an open lake with just a complete flat surface, nothing to worry about. We used to do that a lot. But after about a week, you start to realize, God, it's really
It's freaking
miserably
cold.
You
Yeah.
can only go to the Ritz so many times and eat.
Yeah, I wouldn't live up in Minnesota for anything.
I mean,
in the winter.
Well, definitely not in the winter. Certain times, the problem. Have you been to the Boundary in the northern up there?
Mm-hmm.
I've went there once, and
Not in the winter.
the bugs were. I was warned that the bugs were bad, but it's so. I mean, when I got there, it was unbelievable. You just got out, and it was just.
I hate bugs.
And
It
they're
was-
huge.
It was unbelievable. I couldn't believe it. It was, I mean, it was just, and it was even worse than the warning. You always figure when you're being warned like that, people are kind of blowing it out of proportion. No, it's like they're just, wait, hey, here comes some. Let's go. I mean, then they boom, mosquitoes, mostly mosquitoes. I'm just nonstop.
I
So
found a tick on my head.
And he threw it at me.
No, you know something? I threw it. I thought I got rid of it, but I
stuck to your
evidently
finger.
just flicked it because it was back on my head when I got home.
when was this?
And you sure it wasn't a different one?
No, it was the same tick.
When was this?
I recognize that tick anywhere.
Oh, is this recently?
Yeah, just the other day.
You think they're in here?
No, I don't know where. I probably got it walking around the tower.
Oh, that's
So
right.
were you and Jan doing some boom boom out in the cornfield?
Yeah, sure we would.
Children of the Corn.
Hey.
Children of the corn, children of the corn.
So that brings up. So can we sing?
No.
We can't. We can't.
We can, but if we do, we can't put it up on YouTube.
Yeah, no,
Seriously?
yeah.
So why don't you? We'll just have our normal drifts, and then if we get into something where he would normally play music, couldn't we get Landslide in here to start performing songs?
No.
It would be the rebirth of why?
No.
Because unless they own the songs,
Oh,
and then they'd
So
have
we could
to
do
have
our
them-
own songs.
Yes.
they'd have
But
to have
nobody
them-
wants to hear them.
But you'd have to register them with YouTube. They've got a bunch of songs that they've got registered, but they're all from foreign lands. I never heard of them. I can't even pronounce the names.
I have songs registered with the U.S. Copyright Office.
Well,
That
then you
count?
can't play it.
I have hundreds.
Yeah, well, then you can't.
but they're his songs though. He still couldn't play those.
No, because you have to tell YouTube. And you have to say you can't get a hold of anybody.
YouTube sounds like
at
it's more
YouTube.
like their tube.
It's
you know?
their
It's
tube.
Definitely not our tube.
Sounds more like Comrade Tube.
Definitely not our tube.
Yeah.
I say we complained to the
I
commander. and
wanted just to tell him, look, we're licensed to
reach
do
out
this.
to Trump. I bet get Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've
Seriously,
been such a staunch supporter.
I bet you Trump, if he got a chance, he would try to tackle YouTube, wouldn't he? If he's
I'd tackle anything.
all right.
Hey, they got videos of you on YouTube.
Oh God! But back to Big Tens. For those who care, because I did have a couple of hotel bill with parking, $360
For one day?
for one day. I got it and just laughed. And the girl looks at me. She goes, "Yeah, kind of expensive." That's what she said. We were going to go to the rest. Tyler's like, "Hey, could we maybe want to go catch breakfast at the hotel place?" First one we went to was only for elite Marriott members, and the lady looked at us and. I'm like, well, that excludes us. We'll move on. So she goes, well, the restaurant that's across this big balcony thing was for the normal people. And I get there and I look, and a side of hash browns was $14.50, and a combo.
Seriously?
Everything else was like $19 and up. And I'm like, Tyler, man, I don't want to be, because, the night before we had gone to P.F. Chang's. I'm not going to, starve the kid when he's going. But I just looked at him, I go, I ain't dropping $60 on breakfast while we're killing time before
$14 for hash browns.
I didn't see anything meal-wise where any type of entree for less than 19. There was, pancakes, I think, were 21.
And people were eating there.
There was some.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've done that at times in my life, but I wasn't going to do it in a working situation where I'm paying my own way.
When we went to Chicago and met Wolfgang, the breakfast.
I mean, if that was a press citizen, I would have bought the person across. Hey, but maybe that's why my job's been eliminated. Who knows? But no, it's just and when we pulled in to the hotel, the valet. They were so overwhelmed. The valet guys were trying to, hey, self-day parking's half price. It's over there. But you couldn't get anywhere. It was so congested, and everybody was just slamming on their horns. And you couldn't drive your car anywhere. And you know how when you do a valet, you kind of wrap into the half my car was in the street blocking all the traffic going that way because nobody in the valet was leaving. And the valet guys were just freaking out. It probably took valet 40 minutes for us to get our luggage and get our car out of there, and that was $61. It was great paying $61 for a service that the guy didn't even want you to take. He wanted me to just get my car out of there and go self-parking 2 blocks, and that was $38. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm thinking, okay, do I really want to deal with that to save $20? So I went with valet, and it was. And the difference was the joy of valet is when you walk out of your hotel, and it only took them probably 10. We had to wait 10 minutes, but they bring the car right up to you. But no, it's a lot different event now. You only get the Iowa players for an hour as opposed to 2 hours in the old days, and Kirk sits around for an hour. I didn't even listen to Kirk a lot because we get him again on media day. We just had him on a week ago, and we had him the day before. I mean, there's only so much. There's only so much. I spent a lot of time around Nate Stanley. I'm working on a story on him, and I know a lot of my colleagues already have done stories on him. And I mean, I still find the thing that's most stunning about Nate Stanley is the fact that he's been here 2 years now, and he has never been downtown to Iowa City
since his visit,
since his official visit,
which I thought was great.
That was in high school.
What do you mean?
He's other than when his parents come in to go eat, he's never gone downtown socially. He just not.
You mean drinking?
Well, he's never been. He has literally not been foot down in downtown in like a bar or any type of thing since he's been here. It's just he's gone a couple times with his parents come to visit him. I think he said they've eaten in places which you would maybe called it, but he's never gone downtown with friends or anything on a social setting. And my jaw dropped when I heard that.
Why?
I just find that stunning.
No, I mean, why?
Because he's focused on being
that's not just,
QB1.
No, it's not just that. It's not that because he quickly. It's just not his thing. He just has no interest in that.
There's restaurants, though. I mean, why wouldn't you cross the damn street and just go to a restaurant?
Well,
because he gets all the food he wants at the.
Yeah, he's just never. I just found that interesting. I mean, he is very focused on football, but he was quick to say, "No, I mean, it's just not his thing socially." And I think more than anything, I don't want to make him sound like. I think he's a pretty straight arrow, I don't even want to be, that's just not his thing. And I'm not saying I expect Iowa football players to be Foster Brooks or anything. I'm just surprised that he's that.
Well, it didn't work out well for Brady Reef here recently.
Yeah, and in fairness to Brady Reef, that was bad. He made a mistake. He's a kid. He'll be punished. He deserves to be punished. It's sort of funny. I don't want to laugh at his expense, but he is 22, so we can laugh at him a little bit, can't we? I think he should serve the 1-game suspension, then he gets to play. And if I wasn't afraid of him, I would probably say something to him. But Brady Reef looks like he could rearrange your priorities if he wanted to.
I would think so.
Remember when his brother had a similar charge?
He did.
This was even better.
Of course, his brother was younger.
And wasn't he naked?
Yeah.
He was in his underwear.
That was one of my favorite all time. And, and I laughed and never really the best Riley Reef story of all time, though, even better than the underwear in the alley. Wasn't that a movie in the 50s? Underwear in the Alley.
A Genesis song.
Now, can we say fake titles, or do we have to?
No.
Does YouTube now own Underwear in the Alley, Suter?
I don't think they do. They do.
No, I mean, it's interesting and everything. I just find it. I don't know. You're downtown. There's a Pentecrest. And there's,
and I think what he means is, I'm sure there's times where he's been in class and, I got to go to the bookstore. I think what he means is he's never been down to, hey, let's go down. You know what I mean?
Right. I know
Cool.
exactly what you mean.
But I don't think he literally means the bookstore's downtown. So, I mean, he meant that he's never been downtown in pursuit of social fun. That's what he meant.
Okay.
That's the best way I can. And that's still pretty stunning.
Yeah.
2 years into it, I'm not criticizing. I'm not necessarily praising him. Because to praise him means that it's wrong to go downtown. I don't think there's no judgment in this at all. I just thought it was.
I thought it was interesting too.
I thought it was very interesting, and he was actually good to talk to. He's getting better. I mean, they had three great representatives: Parker Hesse, Matt Nelson, and Nate Stanley. They get it. They are about as good as you can be as student athletes. And obviously, I'm a little biased because it's the Hawkeyes, and we all love the Hawkeyes. But those guys really do seem to get it, the big picture. They're very mature. I mean, Nelson's going to be a doctor. They're all going to be successful in whatever they do. I think Stanley definitely, if he keeps progressing, will get a look in the NFL. I'm not buying these people, oh, God, he's gone this year.
First rounder this year after
that's
this
just
season.
Insane to be saying like that. I mean, it could happen someday, but I'm not ready to project that now. It's like people.
He would have to have one hell of a year.
It's weird how people look back, and the stats were incredible, but it's almost like they forget the Wisconsin, Michigan State, Northwestern, and Purdue games, where he was miserable in one and average at best in the other three. And I'm not knocking him. I'm just let the kid grow and develop before we start making him a first-round draft choice.
I mean, he was 4-5 in the Big Ten. And
yes.
I'm sorry, it matters.
And when we say when we know it's a team sport, but
yes.
But
that's his stat.
That's
too,
his stats,
and
that's why you don't start worrying about him leaving for the NFL. Noah Fant, yes, barring injury and one of the biggest declines in the history of Iowa football, I'm guessing Noah Fant's last season is this year.
I would guess.
I'm thinking, with his athleticism, size, he's up now. He's shown that he can gain weight and not really affect his speed. The guy's 6'4", 240, 245. To me, he's a pass-catching NFL tight end waiting to happen. So now you just hope that he has a big year and helps the team achieve as much success as possible in what I think will be his last season.
Well, I think you're right. And it would be great if he had finished up here, but I had another year. But
well, we'll see. I mean, I think Kirk has worry about that later. Just be happy that he's here now and see what you can accomplish this year. But no, they had three good representatives there, and I was impressed with all of them. And it's not like they're going to send idiots out there. I mean, Kirk wants to send the players who've earned the right on the field, but who also project the image that he wants Iowa football to project. And I think someone like Parker Hesse is perfect. I mean, he's a two-star recruit, hardly any offers, played quarterback and linebacker in high school, comes here and they move him to defensive end at 235 pounds, and now look at him. Yeah. That's Iowa football.
Yeah, it is.
There you go. What about that?
You broke it down.
Hard hitting. Concise.
Week off, we shake the rust off and we move on. Is that how it is?
Yeah.
That's how it is.
That's exactly how
So can you even do the lead-in from Cannon anymore?
No.
Wow. It's a different era, Suter.
Well, we can for the Saturday.
Oh, I guess for the Saturday
Saturday
show.
is the only time
That's your tube. That's not their tube, right? Yeah, because Saturday...
Well, if we don't record them, sure.
But Saturday we don't
Well, I was thinking of recording them on YouTube.
But then you couldn't do the Cannon introduction.
Right.
That would lead a revolt.
You know, there are radio stations out here. I don't want to shock you guys or anything. Like in the major markets like WGN, where they have to. I have a friend that produces there, and they have to time they have songs that they use, but they have to time them out, and they can't go past 7 seconds, or they have to pay. They don't pay royalties. Mm-hmm. Because
What's the point in playing a song for 6 seconds?
Well, I'm just saying.
You could play a game with you.
This is how the companies are working nowadays.
You could play a game with your audience, so have them guess the songs.
So here's the question. Okay,
we pay royalties to play music. There's a lot of stations now, a lot of sports stations that don't.
Right.
And
a lot of talk stations that don't.
If we would just not play music, we'd still have to pay them something, but it would be like all of them together would be maybe $1,000 a month or $1,000 a year or something. But if you play music, we're paying each $7,000 to $8,000 a year. So you add that up. There's 4 of them now. You're paying $28,000 for us to pay music. There's a lot of stations that are not doing that, so they don't play any music.
Okay, so hypothetical. Let's say, what about if we use a instrumental piece from Say Hello to the Night?
No, you
for
can't.
instance.
You can't play. What don't you?
What about dueling banjos?
Because
You can't
it's
play.
my song, my and Mark's
It
song.
makes no difference. It was copyrighted.
Yes, it was.
Okay, you didn't give a release to YouTube.
Not at all.
Well, then you can't play it.
YouTube didn't exist when we wrote it.
Can we still have guests?
Yes, you can have guests.
Just not musical guests.
No, you can't have musical guests.
So we
Well,
could.
you could have musical guests, but they can't do.
So the cow
any
cells were
music.
actually ahead of their time. They
No,
knew
the
what
cow
was.
cells-
They knew what was coming
We
up.
were going to play the. Yeah, they knew. Oh, yes.
They knew that we were switching over to
they're
YouTube.
way ahead of their
and they
time.
didn't want to have any conflicts.
Yeah.
No, it's not like we wanted the cow cells to play anything. We just wanted to kind of. Didn't we sort of want them on to sort of
Kinda.
to poke
You
fun at
wanted
them?
them
To kind of poke fun at them.
Well, I wasn't going to poke
A
fun.
little bit of you would have. I mean,
I'm not poking fun.
I wanted to poke fun of them, especially after they
Well,
were mean.
half of them are dead. I'm not poking fun at the cow cells.
That's true. All right, I'll take the. Well,
So what'd you think when half of you guys died?
Do you miss those brothers?
Yeah, what the hell? You want me to fight with the cow cells over their dead relatives?
and we can't even play hair.
Not at all.
No, thank God. There is some.
Can we still take breaks?
Yes, you can. You can still go to the bathroom.
Now, do you still
As
do
long
the
as YouTube says it's okay.
Can you still do the financials?
Yes, you can do financials. You can use the germ jar. You can do all the stuff.
Okay. Trying to think of what it was interesting listening to Urban Meyer deal with all the questions about his assistant coach who he just fired. Mm-hmm. For just sounds like the guy was kind of a creep. I mean,
Super creep.
did he? I didn't read it closely enough, but I know it was an issue with his soon-to-be wife. Are they divorced yet? Or are they? But it was just a typical, almost like a male aggressive stalker. beat.
Absolutely.
And that's just. You can't have that. Is this financials?
This
It
is financials.
And you
We're
can
okay.
have
We're
this.
okay
We're
with
okay?
financials.
All right.
Yes.
I just hope.
Hello.
All right.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Don't start singing anything, Adam.
I'm not going to say a word.
we have to say a
No,
word.
wait. The fact that he played at Iowa, are we still okay?
Yes, we're still
All right.
okay. Here's Adam Oleska, Wells Fargo Advisors with the markets.
All right, thanks, guys. Good morning, everyone. Stocks finished mixed on the day Tuesday. The Dow was up 197 points yesterday to close at 25,241. The S&P 500 added 13 points to close at 2,820. And finally, for yesterday here, the Nasdaq Composite did lose 1 point, and it was down to 7,840. The major averages closed mostly higher as investors assessed the latest batch of second quarter corporate earnings. On the data front, a preliminary reading from Market revealed that the pace of manufacturing is increasing in July, while activity in the service sector is expanding at a slightly lower rate compared to the month of June. 9 of 11 sectors in the S&P closed in positive territory. Once again, this was yesterday. Energy shares paced gains. Tech did outperform as Google, parent Alphabet, climbed nearly 4% to $1,258 a share after revealing strong YouTube advertising revenues. Elsewhere, Healthcare Group provided a market tailwind as Eli Lilly surged 5% after delivering on an earnings beat. Meanwhile, United Technologies rallied 3.8% after topping analyst profit estimates and raising its full-year guidance. Elsewhere in the industrial space, Deere was up 3.2% to $139 a share. This on news that the Trump administration announced plans to provide up to $12 billion in aid for U.S. farmers in order to protect them from trade tariffs. Looking at the market here today, Wednesday, July 25th, the major averages are slightly down this morning following yesterday's session in which the S&P 500 did notch its best close since February 1st. The Dow is currently down 95 points. S&P is trading flat, and NASDAQ is up 2 points this morning. General Motors is down 7% this morning after cutting its 2018 outlook on the basis of higher commodity prices. Coca-Cola is adding 2.7% after delivering an earnings beat. And finally for today here, UPS is up 3.4% after topping profit estimates and rising demand. Looking at European markets, they're currently lower here at mid-session. The European Stock 600 is slipping 0.2%. Germany's DAX is down 0.6%. And the UK's FTSE 100 is falling 0.8%. And overnight in Asia, China's Shanghai Composite was off less than 0.1% after posting its largest three-day rally in 2 years. Treasuries are slightly higher here with the yield on the 10-year note down 1 basis point. That's at 2.94%. In commodities, crude is rising 0.1% to $68.61 a barrel, and gold is adding 0.6% this morning. That's at $12.32 an ounce. Once again, this has been Adam Haluska with Wells Fargo Advisors, LLC, member SIPC. If you're in the Iowa City, Coralville area, we can be reached at 319-338-3799, or you can always come in and see us. Adam Haluska, Corey Arian, Tad Stoley, and Daryl Courtney. We're at 501 12th Avenue, Suite 201 in Coralville, Iowa.
We're as close as your smart device. Just ask Alexa to play KCJJ on TuneIn. Our video and audio streams are powered by Lucky's Market at the Iowa City Marketplace.
AllHawkeyes.com. We're back.
We're back.
But are we better than ever?
No, not really.
I was talking to these guys. The Fez is the street band Saturday.
Yeah.
Downtown Iowa. Now, we can talk about them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can talk about them.
Now, we got a conflict, though. If Regina keeps winning, because I've never seen the Fez, but Regina would be playing in the state championship. At what time, Jim, on Saturday afternoon? So, I'm not sure.
Well, you would have to make a decision.
To make a tough decision. And then
I would say you should see the Fez.
Regina plays tomorrow too. I'm hoping I can do that. I've got so much stuff going on because Richard's actually moving in. Maybe today. I'm not sure. I have to talk to him. He's got a lot of his stuff into the basement, into my basement apartment as I call it, and so I'm not sure. So a lot going on. We can still take calls too, right?
Yeah.
Now, what if the callers start singing bread songs?
All is
Diary.
lost.
All is lost.
What if this person right now starts singing Diary?
We're effed.
I found
We're
the
effed.
diary.
Then I'll just shut off.
Then we'll
the station.
just delete it.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll just shut off the station.
Hello.
Hello.
So can you even sing like Kumbaya?
No, you
No.
can't sing nothing. I don't know why this is a hard concept.
I just sang a little bit of Diary. Does that mean we're...
No.
I sang a couple. Did you hear I did sing?
But we could do 6 seconds of...
No, we don't know that we could do 6 seconds.
Wasn't that a Al Pacino movie?
No, that was...
88 minutes.
Yeah, it was 88 minutes of horrendous.
It was bad.
It was...
Now, we should be able to play all of 5 seconds of summer because it's only 5 seconds. Right, Jim?
Hey,
God.
Hey, we still got a call.
hey,
Yeah.
Pat.
Yeah,
Is that Rocky Lombardi? Is he the backup at Michigan
I believe he is. I think right now, I believe he is. And now, and when we say backup, that's a distant backup because I think they got one of the best quarterbacks in the Big Ten.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
really good.
Yeah.
But Rocky could be an injury away from being their quarterback. But yeah, they seem to like him up there, and he's going to have a chance to maybe be their starter for at least 2 years.
I listened to the coach there on the Big Ten Network last night, and he said that Rocky's got the it that you need to have.
Well, he's a tough kid. I mean, he's one of those unusual combinations. He was an all-state quarterback and a state wrestling. I don't know if he won the title, but he was a really good elite wrestler. You just don't see a lot of quarterbacks who also are upper weight star wrestlers. So he's a tough kid. So, yeah, I mean, he's definitely, I think he can take the pounding. To me, it'll come down to how accurate, his timing, and just those important intangibles to play quarterback. I don't think he's going to have a problem scrambling for yards. I don't think he's going to have a problem taking on linebackers those times when he has to run for yards. I think he'll be good in that regard. It'll just be, can he handle the passing part of it?
Did Iowa try and get him?
Yes, they offered him. Mm-hmm. There was never a lot of momentum with that. It just never really kind of like the same thing with the Messiah Newsom from Waverly. It just never really took off for reasons I'm not exactly sure.
And do you know, is Oliver Martin on the 2 deep at Michigan?
I didn't see him on the.
I don't think that he is.
I didn't see. I will admit I didn't go look at Michigan's.
But I did hear or see a quote from Karan Higdon
saying he's. And I always take stuff like that. Yes, what's a guy gonna say in that?
He's going to see the field.
Yeah, he's saying that he should play, but I don't take a lot of that stuff real serious when they, because it's not, even if he wasn't going to take the field, he wouldn't probably say that. So, yeah. Oliver Martin, my guess is, as a redshirt freshman now, he'll get a chance. I think you'll see him probably on special teams. There's at least 2 or 3 guys in his class that played last year.
Yeah.
That were some of their best receivers, so there's going to be tons of competition, but I would expect to see him play somewhat of a role this year.
Hello.
Hello. Hey, Pat.
Yeah.
You happen to listen to Urban Meyer's today at the
You mean
conference?
his 15-minute stand-up?
Yeah,
I was
wondering if
I was right there.
he mentioned anything too about his ass something in Iowa.
No, he did not. I thought about. We were joking afterwards. He did not. No one brought up the Iowa thing, partly because no one was going to in that circumstance. You only get 15 minutes, and most of it was dominated by discussion about his assistant coach who he had just fired. I mean, that's a very unusual story. Think about getting rid of one of your assistants a month before the season starts. But we were joking when coaches all afterwards, they all have a roundtable discussion. The 17, they bring the players into this big ballroom. Urban Meyer must have had 100 reporters around him. You could never get close to him, but we were joking about trying to crash through all the reporters and just say, hey, Coach, I got a question for you. What the hell happened in Iowa City last year? But no, never heard anyone address it to him. I never had a chance to because, quite frankly, I couldn't get within 10 feet of the guy. I mean,
So he didn't have an autograph session then.
not well. If he did, I missed it. No, I was.
Does he still have it as a Fu Manchu thing?
I don't. Did Urban Meyer have a Fu Manchu going?
Did you offer to buy him $14 hash browns?
No, I did not. I'm sure he doesn't need help from me buying him $14. He probably orders. No, he goes into the elite Marriott's thing. How much do you think the hash browns there are there?
$45.
I mean, I think a fruit bowl was like 21, something like that. It was just. I did not see anything under 19.
No, it's expensive.
And it had just been a while.
It's expensive to live there.
Well,
and to be downtown.
No, I will say that. Tyler and I went, and I paid for 2 of us to eat at P.F. Chang with Tyler's $6 beer, and it was only $38. And the food was great.
And I had a breakfast sandwich at Dunkin' Donuts for like $6.
Yeah, they're all over the place.
It was delicious.
Yeah, no, you're right, though. It's very expensive. But we're more expensive staying in a luxury hotel in downtown Chicago. But no, Urban Meyer, I didn't really have a chance to get close to him, but I will admit I didn't really try because I don't really care what Urban Meyer has to say. I'm not being disrespectful. I just don't care. I'm there to cover Iowa. I don't care. I mean, I asked Scott Frost a couple questions, and because Scott Frost, somebody tweeted that it's almost like he's running for governor. I understand why they love him, and he's very accomplished and what have you, but I'm telling you, I don't want to say he's cocky, but he says things that Kirk Ferentz never would have said.
He's always been cocky.
He says things that Kirk Ferentz never would have said about, hey, Iowa, we're
hyping him up. I saw something on ESPN where they showed him out climbing the Grand Canyon.
Oh yeah, I mean the guy was a great athlete. He's still in shape. The coverage of him has just been.
I know
it's just amazing. And Nebraska, they're proud of what they have. But he did.
I sure hope he falls on his face. That's all I can say.
Well,
he's going to probably have a rough year, but I think he's
his message
probably going to do well.
His message to us. I was right there with 2 other Iowa reporters, and we asked him a couple questions. And he said, he goes, we could struggle a little bit this year was his message, but he goes, we're coming. You better get your licks in now. And then he said, we're gunning. We respect Kirk Ferentz, but we're gunning for Iowa. I mean, it was just, he held nothing back. He wasn't disrespectful, and he wasn't necessarily cocky, but he was incredibly confident. And the Nebraska fans and media just eat that up. That's what they need. So we'll see. Now you just got to do it. If he does it, he will be a living legend, and that could be the kind of situation where he coaches there the rest of his career. But could you imagine if he went there in 5 years, turned them back into a power, and then he bolted for like the NFL or for somewhere?
And that could happen.
It could happen. I mean, he's only 42
Yeah, he's a young man.
He's not that old. So, anything else? All right, thanks for calling.
But no, I fully. Nebraska has always out-recruited Iowa by a lot.
Yeah, and they've got great facilities, and they don't have Nebraska State.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference when you don't have another Division I school that you're competing against in the same sport. I mean, Iowa State, Iowa fans, I know there's the big brother Iowa State makes things harder for Iowa.
I'm sure they do.
Imagine if you combined both. Imagine if you combined Iowa State's football team with Iowa's this year. Think about that.
It'd be damn good.
David Montgomery in that backfield with a couple of those Iowa State receivers, and I mean, think about that team.
It'd be damn good.
Yeah, there's been lots of years where you could do that, no, it's a different situation out there in Nebraska, and so we'll see. I was just surprised at how you kind of figure out what a coach is like when you see him in that situation. Man, are you all right?
Yeah, itchy. Itchy skin.
But and maybe I think Kirk Ferentz is a little unusual. His amount of self-deprecation and humble nature.
Yes.
But Kirk would just never, and that's what we're used to. I've been covering Iowa football for 27 years, and Kirk's been 20 of it. Hayden Fry
there's an age difference too.
Yeah, but Kirk was like that at 42.
I
Kirk
understand that, but
never have said that.
I think we were more like that earlier than right now. There's a lot of people have putting showmanship into it.
Well, I do think that's part of it, but I still think it's more Kirk Ferentz. I think he's just unique that way. I think he is one of the more humble people, at least publicly. I mean, Kirk may be behind the scenes different. Maybe I'm sure. I mean, Kirk Ferentz has an ego. He's got to be very confident, or you couldn't be a leader if you're not confident. But he manages to project this public persona where he's just not going to disrespect anybody. He's not going to say anything to put himself or his team on the line or expose anything or set himself up for failure. I mean, Scott Frost, if 3 years into this they're not 10-2 at least once, there's going to be some people, hey, what was all that crap 3 years ago you were saying? Mm-hmm. Kirk doesn't want that. I think Kirk's very calculated that way, and I also think that's part of his nature. But yes, the impact from social media has changed people. I think there's a lot more showmanship in coaches. Mm-hmm. But I was just surprised that Frost was that confident, and I guess that's what you need to be. I mean, and they are coming off 2 recruiting wins over Iowa.
PJ Fleck's confident too.
Yeah, he is. I can't even.
But I think the difference is Frost is going to get it done, and the jury's still out on PJ.
Yeah, and I think in fairness, I think it should be a little easier to win right now at Nebraska because it's Nebraska. I don't think they've got. I mean, to be honest with you, if I had my choice between going to Nebraska or Minnesota for college, I'd probably pick Minnesota. Just if I was a kid coming out, where would you have gone if that was your two choices for social education, whatever? Where would you choose between Nebraska and Minnesota to go to college?
I'm just so prejudiced. I can't really say that. I think it would depend on my visits and stuff. I mean,
and what
if
you
I
like
were an
socially.
athlete,
I just think I would enjoy myself more in Minneapolis than I would in Lincoln. But maybe
a big city versus a not big city.
And I do like Minnesota. Although Minnesota's campus is hit and miss with
I spent a fair amount of time in Minneapolis when we were in the band, and my mother-in-law and father-in-law lived up there. So they had a downtown condo. So we spent a lot of time in Minneapolis.
Did you like it?
Not in the winter.
No, of course not in the winter. But Lincoln ain't much. But now, have you been to Lincoln?
Yes.
I remember the first time I went to Lincoln. When I went to Lincoln for a football game, I can't believe how underwhelmed I was because you grew up watching Nebraska on Thanksgiving, and it's just as great as they were in the 90s. I had never been there for a football game, and then I went there for the first time when Iowa played, and I was like, oh, wow, this just didn't, I don't know. I mean, it just didn't do it for me.
No, But
no, I'm with you. I think Frost will win. I don't think Frost will necessarily be the savior. I mean, Jim Harbaugh had to answer a lot of the 1-5. I'll give the media credit. I don't know what it was. Somebody just roasted him, just said, Coach.
He's 1-5 against
1-5,
Ohio State,
and your year, what is this, year 5? I think for him, or year 4.
Maybe 1-5 against Michigan State.
Well, they're 1-5 combined against Ohio State. And
is it combined?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And he hasn't beaten Iowa. He hasn't finished. He's finished. I think this guy read off all the stuff. He didn't mention the Iowa thing, of course, but a reporter mentioned off all these failures while addressing his question, or while asking his question. He listed all these different things that Harbaugh hasn't accomplished.
And what did Harbaugh say?
Harbaugh just stood there, waited. You go, well, he answered it like a sentence. You just got to, I can't remember exactly. It was nothing. He didn't address. He basically just dismissed it with a 1 or 2 sentence. That's what he does with everything. Mm-hmm. I mean, he just dismisses it with a 1 or 2 question answer. And I mean, at some point, he's got to beat Ohio State and win that division. All the other coaches at Michigan were let go for not winning winning championships. I mean, Harbaugh, they went 8-5 last year. I mean, those are Brady Hoke type numbers. So it will be interesting to see, because I think the pressure is eventually even going to get on Jim Harbaugh. Nobody can avoid pressure. If Nick Saban goes 4-8 this year and 3-9 next year, Nick Saban's under
they're going to
pressure.
turn on him like vipers.
It's not going to happen. I understand that, but it would happen. They would. They'd be like, Nick, we love you, but you're 68. Thank you for everything you've done. Move on. He's 66 right now, but that's the nature of the beast.
Yeah,
and that's,
absolutely.
And the same thing with, I was like, well, Kirk Ferentz could, no, Kirk Ferentz, had Kirk Ferentz that 4-8 turned into 5-7 and 3-9, he would be gone by now.
Absolutely.
I tell that to people, he would have been gone by, and
he would have been.
It wouldn't have been necessarily Gary Barta making the decision all by himself. It would have been a group thing. Just, hey, look at this. It's not working. We got to make a change. We're losing money. Ticket sales.
And saying, they've said that Kinnick Stadium is the most intimidating environment to play in.
But you got to win.
But if you don't win, the fans ain't there.
And I wrote that at the bottom of my column. Of course, winning is the best way to create an electric atmosphere.
Absolutely.
I was surprised, though, at how many players just right away, without hesitation, when you ask them, Kinnick. And it's all for the same reason, because of how freaking close the fans are.
Yeah.
That's we can say freaking, right?
Yes.
But
they can't sing it.
No. Can we sing The Freak by Chic?
No.
The Freak. Remember that song?
Yeah. No.
We can't even do that?
No. I'm telling you.
God, it's like, what is this, North Korea?
Hello.
Hey, guys.
Hello.
A second ago when you guys were talking about P.J. Fleck and Scott Frost.
Yes.
Other than Kirk Ferentz, the coach that I like to listen to the most, and he's a little more intense than Coach Ferentz is. I like that Jeff Brom at Purdue.
Oh yeah, I agree.
He'll get it done if he stays. I think LSU or someone is going to scoop, come in and get him.
I completely agree with that. And actually, I'm working on some stuff, and I may write a column on just some. If I was to make some predictions, I think Jeff Brom gets it done at Purdue. I really do. I'll be surprised
if he stays.
And when I say get it done, I'm not talking about turning him into Alabama. I'm talking about doing what Joe Tiller says.
Well, I think he can do what Joe Tiller did.
Yeah, and I think he'll stay for 3 to 5 years at least. He had a chance to leave. He could have probably been the Tennessee coach. He could have done a lot of different stuff, and he had chances, and he stayed. And I think his situation is very similar to Matt Campbell in some ways.
What did you think about when P.J. Fleck went back and was like, well, last year was year 0, and that don't matter. Or that didn't count.
Well, to him it does, but to the fans it does.
After all his rah-rah stuff last year.
Well, it counts to the rest of us. This is year 2.
That's him, and when, well, let's say he struggles for the next 3 years. It's not like people are going to say, well, he's only struggled for 2 years because the first year didn't count. That will count if he struggles. So that's just him. I don't listen to a lot of him. I wasn't around him at all. I missed all his stuff.
So as far as Iowa goes, now I haven't heard any updates. Aaron Menz he's done for the year.
He tore his knee up. He's not going to come back, unfortunately.
Okay, that's too bad, man.
It is. I feel bad for the kid. He had a chance to be a starter as a fifth-year senior, and it's really unfortunate. Now you just got to get your degree and get that degree, and that can help a lot of things. Move on, and that can really help you too, and he will.
Did he redshirted, but I mean, so there's no way he can get like a medical or the hardships or anything, or is it bad enough to where it's career ending?
I don't know about a career ending, but Kirk has not said anything about.
I don't think he's a candidate.
I don't think he can, but there's times where I'm sure on something like that. But no, I think it's over for him unless he can come back for a bowl game or something. I mean, the injury happened in April, so it's already. Yeah. I mean, he could come. It'd be 9 months. I just don't. Kirk pretty much made it sound like yesterday that he was done.
I really get irritated when I watch these teams or hear these teams. Someone like Drew Ott or someone like Aaron Menz, they've done everything right. Everything that's been asked of them as a student, as an athlete, what model student and athlete, and then you hear they can't put in for a medical or a hardship.
Well, I'm not saying he could put in. I mean, I'm sure he can put in, and maybe he will.
I know that, but I mean, it took so long for them to rule on Drew Ott, and then
I agree.
You see these kids at Ole Miss who have been to 5 different schools.
The Drew Ott situation was ridiculous. How long that took. I mean, I didn't agree with the decision, but I think I'm really biased in that. But how long it took and how long they kept him in limbo, I agree that was ridiculous. I mean, it's not rocket science. Come on. All this red tape and administration crap that you have to go through to make a decision on whether a kid's – I mean, it's ridiculous.
And did he ever get taken in a supplemental draft or anything?
No.
Or is he –
No, I think he's still – I think he's still – the last story I read about him was somebody in Nebraska wrote it like, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 months ago and they said he was still trying to – achieve the dream, but I don't know. I haven't seen a latest update.
Okay. All right, guys.
All right, thanks.
Hey, thanks for the call.
Yeah, the Drew Ott situation was very unfortunate. I just think he got a raw deal. We can say opinions, right?
As long as they're not, we don't sing them.
I can't believe you can't even. Can I hum a song?
No.
I think he's kidding now.
No, you can't.
Jesus Christ.
You can if it's a melody that's not copyrighted.
I don't.
Like I can make up a song right now and they can't stop.
And then
it.
I could hum the song that he makes up,
They
right?
can stop you sooner. I can, and they can't stop me. Jesus Christ. Taking a stance on this.
We live in an authority.
No, because I wanted to. I wanted to play an excerpt from KGYM on this show where they actually had a phone call. It was the wrong number, but they had a phone
And you
call.
can't do that either?
No, because their chimes are a song.
Wow.
Yeah.
No more music.
Mammy's freezing in the cold, cold grave or some damn chimes.
That's actually, I mean, that's kind of stunning.
See, that's the first slam toward him in a week.
Well, because we haven't been on for a
Yeah.
while. You don't do it when I'm not here. You only do it when
I only do it for your
because you got to work with those people.
Yep. And I was actually with them over in Chicago. Hell, they had a staff there. They were there. Wonder what their bill was. 2 nights in a hotel. They did 3 hours of programming. They must have had a Brown. They went out to this steak place. I bet you their bill must have been over $1,000.
Z1029 has a bigger. Would you say a bigger budget than we have?
I would say so.
They must.
I mean, a much bigger budget than we just say.
Massively bigger.
Ginormously bigger. Hello?
Why don't you start cutting into some of that?
Yeah. Why don't we try doing that? Hello?
Do you think Brett is done coaching in the college?
Brett
by
Bielema?
joining Patriots? Yeah.
No, I think. I think Brett's better for college than NFL. I think he could do both, but no, I think Brett's what 3 years young. Brett's barely 50. Unless he wants to do studio for the next 10 or 15 years, but you got to do something. I mean, he's made enough money to retire. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
But why retire at 50 if you do something that you love? And no, I think he'll coach again at a college or pro, one of the two.
Well, he got hired with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no. Was that official now?
I think so.
Okay, I knew that was
today.
okay. I hadn't seen that today. I knew it was on the verge of happening, but I also think that he will, at some point, return. I think he'll be a head coach in college again.
I do too.
That's what I guess I'm trying to say. I knew that he was being courted by New England. I don't see him staying there. What's his exact position?
Like an assistant to the head dude.
Okay, because I don't think Belichick's there for more than another
2 or 3 years
at the most, because there's a lot of stuff going on with him and Brady and Robert Kraft. I think the Jimmy Garoppolo thing kind of burned, just from what I'm reading and hearing. But yeah, I didn't realize that. So that became official.
Yeah.
I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I haven't been on the computer yet. But yeah, good for Brett. I am happy for him, and that's an interesting combination. I didn't realize that Brett really had any type of connection to Bill Belichick whatsoever.
So who's the Arkansas coach now?
Arkansas. God, who is the Arkansas coach?
That's not Petrino.
No, he's at Louisville.
Louisville.
Who's the Arkansas coach?
I'll find out.
Arkansas.
I can't think.
Hello?
Good morning, gentlemen. How you guys doing this morning?
Doing okay, Steve.
Good, Steve. Who's the Arkansas coach?
Yeah, the thing with Brett, he's like a consultant, I think, too.
Okay, yeah. No, I knew that he was interviewing for it. I just didn't realize it was official. But I'm just saying I think he'll return to college as a head coach someday.
Yeah, the other thing, guys, we talked about with Kinnick and we talked about Garth Brooks. Did you read that he's actually going to do a show at Notre Dame?
Who?
Garth Brooks.
Wow.
Who is?
Garth Brooks.
Oh, he's doing a show at Notre Dame Stadium?
Yep.
Huh,
I just saw it the other day. They didn't make a big pub, but if you look it up, I think it's supposed to be this year, the first concert they ever had. And I think it's going to be with Garth Brooks. That's what I saw.
Interesting. I
did not sell out.
Oh, I'm sure. Interesting. I hope Rudy's not involved.
I just had to share that with you guys, and good shows.
No,
always.
thanks, Steve.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Steve.
it. I was not aware. You think Rudy? You think they'll introduce Rudy?
Garth Brooks had a chance to do a show here,
You think he likes
and
Rudy?
they wouldn't.
YouTube wouldn't allow it.
University hospitals. He had, I guess, he wanted his name on one of them. He was willing to do it and give all the money, and
They wouldn't do it.
they wouldn't do it.
Wow.
So, hello.
Pat,
Yeah.
you know, when I partied, I like to drink alone. You know what I do for a living? I'm a gear jammer.
What? What?
Now,
Those are George Thorogood songs.
Oh, he just violated YouTube rules.
No, he didn't.
No, you didn't
No.
sing it, Jeff. You have to sing them.
No, don't.
I can't sing.
Get out of here. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
George Thorogood.
Why is this such a...
Because it's a dramatic.
It's a difference.
It's a difference. It's like he said. It's a major piece out of the toolbox.
Somebody just Facebook messaged me KGYM's breakfast bill, caviar at $114 and 28 bagels for $138.
28 bagels for $138 isn't bad.
Yeah.
No.
Well, I got a deal.
That's a deal. That's like $3 and $4 a bagel. I went into the. Well, I did get a 2-pack
About
of
six, but
the hotel that's got a little gift, place where you can go in and get drinks and batteries and whatever. I got a little 2-pack of batteries for $10. Felt really good about that. And
two batteries.
it was either I think it was 2 or 4, one or the other, but it was $10. And I looked at, I can't remember if it was 2 or 4, but I looked at the girl and I'm like,
what do we pay for our 20 battery packs?
$15.
Yeah.
Well, I looked at the girl and I'm like, boy, this is a steal. And she winked at me. Because the last thing they need is
And I got 2 garage door opener batteries for $3 and something at True Value.
the last thing they need is some clown from Iowa complaining about the hotel prices.
Hello.
Hey, morning, guys.
Hey.
Morning.
Hey, you know who I think reminds me a little bit of Scott Frost on the Iowa staff is Brian. I mean, he tends to walk the ledge a little more than what Kirk ever has.
I would agree. I would agree
That's
with
not
that.
bad.
No,
Yeah.
And Brian's very confident, and Brian will maybe say some things that leaves them out there. But no, I agree.
No, I remember when he said, what was the reference he made to Iowa State and all the scholarships they offered our friends out east or our friends out west?
Yeah, no, I remember that. I remember thinking, boy, that's risky. That's setting yourself up because if Matt Campbell wins. Like, let's say they win that game this year. You think Iowa State fans are going to bring that up, Tom?
Oh, my God. They'll be insufferable for
Yes.
364 days or however many are between that game and the next one.
Yes, and Scott Frost made a lot of comments like that will set him up later down the road if he doesn't succeed.
So I think that's interesting. And,
I do
maybe
too.
if and when that comes to fruition, seeing Brian on the podium at Big Ten Media Days might give you guys a few more sound bites in the media than what you're used to with Kirk.
Oh, without question.
Yep.
I mean, without
Yep.
question. I mean, don't get me wrong. Kirk's one of the greatest people I've dealt with as far as in my profession, but at times he can be predictable and boring. Is that fair?
That is
And that's not
fair.
That's not a knock. That's just who he is, and that's who he wants to be in those situations. Kirk controls it always. There's a lot more to Kirk than meets the eye publicly, I think. He's got this image he wants to project, and I think Kirk is incredibly humble by nature. But no, you're right. I could see Brian
But
going.
he can also be very fiery.
Oh, he can be, but
Yeah.
doesn't usually do it in public.
No.
To reporters, not to the media. But he'll get fiery in the stadium on game day, and he knows that 100,000 people, 69,250. But hundreds of thousands of people are watching on TV because if Kirk Ferentz blows up on the sideline, the camera goes right to him. So he knows that. But you're right, though. Brian would be a completely different animal at that thing.
A couple different things, both on defense and offense. How do you think they're going to, with all those abundance of safeties, and you hear some of the back chatter about maybe using Snyder down in the box as a linebacker, or how do you think they're going to do that with Stone and Hooker and Gervais and Snyder and the inexperience with the linebackers? Do you think they're going to change up the defense with that?
Kirk was asked about that. He didn't completely eliminate that. He always says, well, Phil has talked about that. But he never says anything like, oh, yes, we're in the process of doing that. I think there's a chance it could happen, but I still think they like knowing they have 4 defensive backs that they can rely on. And until we see Brandon Snyder he's got to go out there and do it again. I think the coaches are probably looking at this as we've got 3 that are ready to go. Brandon's healthy, but we still need to make sure that he's going to be close to what he was before. And I just think you can't have enough depth at safety at those types of positions. Now, if the linebackers, I think a lot of it will depend on how the linebackers do in preseason practice, too. I think right now the feeling I get is they want to rely on who they have at linebacker more than try to convert one of those safeties. Now, I could be wrong because Kirk was also asked about, is there a chance you could move Hooker out to a cornerback position if you don't get what you need? Kirk right away is like, no, he's going to stay inside. Kirk made it sound like there's a better chance he could be a hybrid linebacker than go to cornerback. And I think what that means is that's what Hooker, if you've seen Hooker recently, he looks like a small linebacker.
Oh, my God.
And he's a big kid.
Unbelievable.
He's a big kid. And and I think so yeah, possibly something like that. But I think they want to hope that they have 4 or 5 linebackers that they can rely on. Now, there's been lots of situations where Iowa's used 5 and 6 defensive backs. What I could maybe see with this situation is if teams are having success running the ball against them, I could see them maybe pushing one of those D-backs up to help fill the box a little more. And Hooker, I think, could easily become that. Brandon Snyder, I think, could do it too. But Hooker, to me, is the one who's the most ready to become a makeshift linebacker.
He is built.
Yeah, if it happens, because he's getting bigger and bigger. I mean, the kid's impressive. I'm not big on predictions, but I would not be surprised if Amani Hooker's in the NFL someday.
Yeah, and I think, maybe in a smaller scale, but Amani Hooker's maybe Iowa's Jabril Peppers. When he was up at Michigan, he'd kind of come down at linebacker, a smaller, stockier linebacker, and was a little more quicker versus bigger size.
I could see that on defense. Now, he's not the return guy that Peppers was, but no, I could see him playing that type of role. He's built similar. He's not as fast, but he's a very physical player. And Kirk was very quick to say he's going to stay inside. And what Kirk means by that is that's safety. That's that. You got safety, linebacker, defensive tackles. Hooker's going to stay in that little alignment there.
Yeah, and then shifting over to the offensive side, with Brian and the staff going out to see the Patriots with the connection that he has with Belichick and things, do you see more with the abundance of tight ends with Weeding, Byer, Fant, and Hawkinson of maybe running those guys out of the fullback set and giving some more looks because Weeding could play fullback and then give Iowa so many more options at that position than Brady Ross is a good fullback, but you know what Brady Ross is doing. I think they could maybe use those guys in different areas and give a lot more different looks to the defense. I
think I hadn't given that much thought, but I could see them possibly doing that, especially if they want to get 3 or 4 tight ends on the field, because I think there's even more. I still think Drew Cook's going to make it. I'm biased because I know the kid. I'm friends with his dad. But I still think Drew Cook's going to.
I think he'll get
make some type of an impact. But the only way that's going to happen, though, is because I don't think those other 4 guys that you just mentioned are going to go away. I think there's ways. I could see a formation where they maybe have Nate Weeding or somebody lined up at fullback, Hawkinson lined up on the line of scrimmage, and Noah Fant flanked out as a receiver. There you got 3 tight ends playing right there. I think you're going to see stuff like that. I really do, because I think tight end it's the deepest position on the team, and they got to figure out ways. I think Noah Fant is capable of playing out in space. I think he can, and I think Noah Fant would like to do that, and that's another way to audition for the NFL. That would be killing 2 birds with one. You're auditioning for the NFL, but you're also helping your team and win games. So it'll be interesting, but I agree with you. There's so much flexibility with those tight ends.
And Fant's no Gronkowski, but I think Iowa can utilize him more in that role, just with the mismatch and the things that he brings, and then you can bring another tight end onto the field that gives you so many more options in the run game and in the passing game.
Well, I think
Iowa just doesn't have the receivers. They're always thin at that.
No, and I think you could see situations where defenses are so focused on Fant and Hawkinson, all of a sudden Iowa sneaks in a Sean Byer or a Drew Cook.
Absolutely.
They're wide open down the seam for big plays. I think Fant and Hawkinson are going to be used as almost, I don't want to call them decoys, but defenses. I mean, Iowa's got the number one tight end combination in the country. Most people seem to agree.
And if they go one-on-one on Fant, he's going to win most of those matchups.
And I don't he can go one-on-one with defensive backs and win
Yes.
those. With linebackers, it's no contest. But no, I'm with you. Brian's got a nice little. He's got a nice little toolkit and stuff. That's the word. Suter brought that word out today. I like that toolkit. Brian's got a lot to play with on offense. Now, the thing is, though, they better be able to run the ball, because if they can't run the ball, I don't care how great Noah Fant is, they're going to have issues. They have to be able to run the ball. Because look at the games, caller, last year. Look at the games last year when they couldn't run the ball. What happened?
Well, yeah, I tuned into a little of the Penn State game yesterday when it was on the Classic, and I mean, outside of a couple plays, they got absolutely nothing in the run game.
It isn't just last year; it's every year except for 2004.
The stats are staggering. They're like the games where they've rushed for less than 100 yards. They've lost like every one of them.
Almost all of them.
I mean, I used to know the number off the top of my head, but it is staggering. Because to me, the running game is it. If they cannot run, if they can't average 125 to 150 this year, they're going to struggle. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's where I'm the furthest thing from a football coach, but that's where Iowa runs those bunch formations and gets all those linebackers so close to the line of scrimmage that there's no room to run. That's why you have to spread those guys out.
That's why I think they've got a special guy in Noah Fant to where they can do that. Now, I agree with you, but there's been years where Iowa hasn't had the type of personnel to really, okay, yeah, you can put a big lumbering tight out there in the flat, but I don't think defenses are going to, if Noah Fant goes out in the flat, lines up spread, defenses have to respect that with two guys. And that pulls two guys out of the box. And I think we're going to see that. I think Brian's a little more creative in that respect. I think he's a little more willing to do stuff like that than Greg Davis was, and maybe even Ken O'Keefe for that matter. But I also think Noah Fant gives them a weapon that they rarely have had.
For sure.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. I think there's a lot of options, and we'll see what they institute both on the offense and defense. But better than last year when we were so thin on the back end that we didn't know if somebody went down, who would be playing.
Hey, I wanted to ask you basketball. I mean, I know you're up in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Suggs, I read something where he's going to visit Iowa, North Carolina, Duke. Oh, was it Ohio State and Kentucky? Do you think there's much momentum for Jalen Suggs to Iowa?
Well, Pat, you don't know as much as I do, and I'm going to ask
that
question to you. Yeah, there's against that competition, I would say there's less than a 10% chance of there's those two guys that I was recruiting, that other power forward from Henry Sibley, that guy that's the top 40 guy up here.
Mm-hmm.
Both of those guys, Suggs and that guy, want to challenge the NBA one-and-done rule. And by that time, if you believe Adam Silver, that thing could be gone. So my guess is that Jalen Suggs never even steps foot in an NCAA college campus.
So he's that good. You can say that right now as a kid going into his junior year. He's that good from what you've seen.
He's the number one dual.
Oh, I understand that, but I need more.
The number one point guard.
I mean, there's been a lot of guys.
That much potential.
No, but there's been a lot of guys that have been ranked really, really, really high, and then I see him, and I'm like, he's not ready for this. But we'll see. No, but that's what's weird about Iowa's recruiting right now. The only names you hear are 4 and 5. It's like the George Raveling era, but without
getting them.
Yeah. Well, you said that, not me, but it's sort of.
Yes,
I mean, you've noticed that too, caller. The only names you're really hearing now. This could be because some reporters are being fed certain information that people want them to hear. It makes Iowa look better at times, but the problem is if you don't get any of them, you wonder what's going on. Now, they did get Tyler Cook and Garza, but Garza, that's not Jalen Suggs. They're not in that class. And so, I read a story about Trace Davis Jackson the other day, and he mentioned 6 or 7 schools, and Iowa wasn't one of them. But then you read an Iowa angle story to him, and you're surprised he hasn't committed yet. I mean, it's hard to get a gauge on what's going on.
Well, that's always been the knock, and we talked about it on the Saturday show. But me, you, Captain, and Suter could pull up a Rivals or 247 list, and we could offer the top 40 guys in the country and send them letters and go watch their games. But they're not coming to Iowa, so. Don't waste your time unless there's a connection you got to make a run at Carton, you got to make a run at Foster because they're in your
I
backyard.
agree. Yes. I completely agree. Yes.
These other guys that are in Indiana, Kentucky, Kansas, everything like that, there's just very little chance unless there's a connection that they're coming. So I guess do your due diligence, but don't waste your entire recruiting cycle.
Sounds like
and
John.
then get guys like Brandon Hutton, Andrew Fleming, Brady Ellingson, and everybody else when they say no.
Trey Dicker. No, you're right. And John Feeney, my radio partner on Saturdays, has been saying that for years. The gap between what they're trying to get and what they end up getting is too wide. That's what happened to those 14.
You need to get that next tier.
Yes.
The 21 to 50.
The Evan Boudreaux
60.
type. Yeah, that's what happened, though, to those 14 and 15 classes. 7 out of those 9 guys did nothing because they were fallbacks after they missed on guys. So, and I don't want to sound like we're just overly critical of Fran. I know, because,
Well, what you're seeing is Fran knows he's got to get better players to compete.
And he's trying, but I just think they haven't figured out a way to get the fallback after they miss out on the big guys.
Right.
The gap is just too big.
And if they'd spend the time investing in not the fallback, but make those guys a priority to start,
yes,
maybe they'd feel loved and feel interested in coming to Iowa versus at the end they say, hey, wait a minute, you want to come take a look at Iowa? And they're already committed to Missouri or whoever.
And other coaches have already been recruiting them for a long time.
Feeney's always calling me, hey, so-and-so just committed to here. This guy would have been great for Iowa. 3-star guys. So I'm with you. I had just seen a story because it was written about it. It was a real pro-Iowa recruiting story about Iowa makes Jalen Suggs' 5 fall visits during football season. I think that was the story. I can't remember who wrote it. But I know
Andrew Francis has been in on him since day one, but I know every Minnesota and Iowa game that I've been at, which, and I go to some games at the barn, just Jalen Suggs is sitting right behind the bench at Minnesota games too. So I don't hear a lot of Minnesota chatter, but it's the same. But when you're going up against the Blue Bloods, unless Iowa goes to a Final Four, they're not even in a conversation with those guys.
And do you think, and with Minnesota, do you think Pitino will be the coach when Jalen Suggs would be a freshman in college?
Well, if you listen to the media around here, it's kind of the same deal. They think that they're poised for a breakout year, but they had a lot of guys hurt last year, and they got a lot of guys coming back. It's just how they recover from injury and are able to put it all together. They always have talent.
They do. You're right. You're right.
His regime up there has been amazingly up and down.
It really has been. Yeah, it has been. He's been very inconsistent. So we'll see. You're right, though. They do have talent.
They just got the new athletic village. That's that $120 million facilities bump that they've been asking for. So, the excuses are out. Between Fleck and Pitino around, nobody likes Fleck around here. You talk to any fan around here, and he's just a blowhard, the same thing that me and you talk about. He is from the outside. Nobody likes the guy around here.
Interesting.
But I'll tell you the way they like him if he wins.
Sure, without question. And we can sit here and admire Kirk Ferentz for all his integrity and everything, but if he didn't win, he'd been gone. Yeah. He would have been gone. Yesterday's news. You got to win too, no matter how nice you are.
Hey, before you go, how are you listening to us? Are you listening on our audio stream? YouTube. Okay. All right.
Don't sing anything.
Yeah, don't sing.
Don't sing anything. Even the Minnesota fight song. We can't have it.
Don't pick up that guitar or that lyre that you have there. You can't do it.
All right. Thanks.
He's like, well, I think this call's done.
Hey, that's a good caller.
This is a news bulletin, but last night Trump got pissed off because Melania was on the plane watching CNN. So he threw a fit and he gave orders that CNN's not allowed on any of the TVs. So Melania's spokeswoman today said Melania will watch any damn channel she wants.
Yeah, good for her.
That's the government control.
Good for her.
Yeah.
He keeps saying he wants to make America great again, but it seems like he just wants to control everything.
Yes, you got it.
The beauty of our country is the right to disagree.
Amen, brother.
And the right for transparency.
Well.
Now, can I say this on you? No.
Yeah, you can say
Just don't sing it.
Just don't sing it?
Yeah. Don't apply musical notes to it.
All right. God, my Lord.
I'll watch any damn channel I want. That's great. Hello?
Hey, Steve, how about Old Man River? Because he doesn't really sing. He just kind of talks.
No. Why can't you people?
How about Boxcar, the I got to work. Can we do that one?
No. Okay, how about rap that doesn't have any melody?
No. What don't you understand? Anything that's copywritten.
I am just trying to find a window in.
We're just looking for a way
I have exhausted all.
We're looking for a life where we're like Tom Cruise at the end of Castaway, floating on those waves,
God, I hated that.
ready to die, but then all of a sudden the boat shows up and sprays water on him.
Honest to God.
You didn't like that movie?
No.
Castaway?
I didn't mind it.
It was okay, but
the volleyball thing didn't do it for me like it did for other people. I got a little annoyed with the volleyball.
No, I would have liked it if it would have been a puppet and it would have started talking to him.
I would have preferred it with a volleyball if it would have.
Hey, you're all alone on this island. You're talking to a ball.
I would rather have had Raquel Welch than a volleyball, wouldn't you?
Yes.
You imagine being that's
be all right.
Really. Nope, I'm fine. We got enough water here. Go away. All of a sudden, you see a boat coming, you start crying.
Hello.
Hi, gentlemen. This is John Ballmer.
Hello, John. Sorry, John.
Entertaining as always. Several questions. Is Nate Whelan no longer on the team?
No.
I read.
No, he's going. Sounds like he's going to junior college and wants to resurface at a different Division I school. From I think Blair Sanders from Hawkeye Report talked to him while we were over in Chicago. So no, he's not on the team. See, Tyler was told that Nate was hurt a lot last year. He had quad stuff, and Tyler had talked to some of his City High connections, and they thought that he was still on the team, but he was dealing with a lot of injuries and what have you. But no, it came out later, and Kirk confirmed it that he's one of the guys that is leaving.
Okay, because I read a list of 4 there, and he was why it was surprised me because I hadn't heard.
I was too. I had not heard anything anywhere that he was leaving.
Yeah, that was interesting. I last night and the night before I watched some of the Big Ten coaches. I didn't know how many you saw, Pat. Certainly Scott Frost isn't lacking for confidence.
No,
that's for sure.
No.
And I think he'll be like Barry Alvarez. He's going to seal the borders probably at Nebraska.
I agree. Yes.
And not let us get in there and pull off of Noah Fant and some of the others. But also Harbaugh and Urban Meyer, I thought were interesting. You know, they got some pretty pointed questions at them, and Harbaugh's good at evading a lot of those. They were putting it on him about not being able to beat Ohio State. And,
and Michigan State.
And Michigan State, yeah. Were you there when he was being interviewed?
Yes, and he doesn't answer anything. He just gives.
No, he didn't answer a thing.
Meyer will at least. Meyer doesn't answer anything either, but he will at least try to not answer it for longer than Harbaugh tries to not answer it. And
that's what I thought too.
Harbaugh's just really dismissive, and his answer it's just amazing though how the media just gravitates to Harbaugh and Meyer and now Scott Frost. Kirk had a pretty good crowd too, but Kirk's probably the one coach. Kirk wouldn't care. I don't think Kirk would be the one coach. I think Paul Chryst is the same way. Paul Chryst is boring. He is not fun to listen to, but the guy all he does is win football games. You know?
Well, he does at Wisconsin. He didn't at Pitt.
Yeah.
No, but he wasn't at Pitt very long. I mean, he was there, 3 years? And he won 7 games. But he didn't lose a bunch of games at Pitt, but no, he's been great at Wisconsin.
He was about 500 at Pitt.
Yeah, and he was there for 2 years, 3 years?
3, I
Look it up, Captain. Can we still look up Google on
I think he
YouTube?
was like 19 and 19. What would that... Or 18,
yeah, he
18.
did not light the world on fire, because I remember when they hired him, wow, Barry's getting a puppet. But if this is Barry's
3
puppet...
years.
Okay, 3. If that's Barry's puppet, it's working, and Barry may still.
Yeah.
I'm sure Barry still has a ton of say in what goes on.
I think he does.
And
I
he's
don't
deserved
have
it.
No question about it. Yeah, because he's got the system in place, and Paul Chryst is following it to a T.
Yep, and it's working.
I think that. Yeah. What was the deal with the Urban Meyer assistant that was dismissed? There was a lot of questions to him about that. Do you have any idea what was going on?
Yeah, spousal abuse. I mean,
I haven't.
Oh, really?
One of his assistant coaches was going through a very stormy divorce, and it happens to be it's the nephew of Earl Bruce, right?
Yeah, and he needed to be bounced.
There was a connection.
Yeah, he needed to be bounced. There'd been multiple incidents, and it was just getting to the point where, I mean, regardless of what he did for a living, he needs to get his personal life in order, and he needs to pay a price for what he did. You can't do that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. No, I kind of assumed, I reading between the lines, that's what it was, but I thought the connection with Earl Bruce was interesting also. So.
Well, what was interesting was Meyer. Each coach gets 15 minutes up at the podium, and Meyer, I would say, all but maybe 1 or 2 of his questions was about that. You could tell he knew it was coming. he did draw the line. He did address it a little bit, but they wanted to ask him some real personal questions, and he's like, I can't go there right now. And I understand that. I'm not an Urban Meyer fan, but there's only so much a coach is going to say about something that sensitive in a public setting, and they can't. But I give the reporters credit, man. I'm proud of my fellow colleagues because they did not give Jim Harbaugh or Urban Meyer a free pass on anything. And I'm the first to complain that there's too many homers in the media market now, but I thought that was pretty neat. Those guys should have been asked. Jim Harbaugh should be asked why he can't beat Ohio State. Because he's making $8 million a year, and everyone anointed him, and he hasn't delivered yet.
I agree totally, Pat. I was really impressed with the questioning because it was pretty pointed and direct. And that's the way it should be.
In all fairness, I think Urban Meyer's lost 9 games since he's been at Ohio State. Nobody's beating him.
Nobody was asking Urban Meyer about his record or winning games. They were asking his only thing he had to deal with was the assistant coach. No, Urban Meyer's been great. He has been
unbelievable.
Great. Even by Ohio State standards, he's been great.
Oh my God, he's ruled the roost there. That's for sure.
Jim Harbaugh went 8-5 last year.
Yeah, that's mediocre for Michigan standards.
Well, that's mediocre for most teams,
Yeah.
That's mediocre for Iowa.
Yes.
That's right, guys. That's for sure. So, all right, gentlemen, it's always interesting to listen to you, Captain.
Hey,
thank
you, John, for not singing.
Hey, you wouldn't want to hear me sing, brother. It would just. Your audience would just go into a catatonic fit.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, John.
Thanks, guys.
Now, what if we were to...
What if...
No, here, I got one. What if we were to crank our car stereo, open the doors, and you could hear the music from the...
No, I can't even have carolers come here at Christmas.
Wow. Now, what if this caller just starts singing Me and Bobby McGee?
I have to. Well, first of all, I take offense at that.
Steve has to have a quick trigger finger.
Yeah.
You don't like Me and Bobby McGee?
No.
Oh, God, I love that song. Suter?
No.
Hunter?
And I love Janice.
I think Hunter went to the fair.
Oh.
He's at the fair. Hello?
Is Harbaugh's best season with the Iowa quarterback?
Yes. Well, he went 10-3 in back-to-back seasons, I believe. He may have went 10-3 in 3 seasons.
Yeah,
I think he went
he's
10
going the wrong way.
Is this his year 4 or year 5?
I think 5.
I think he's gone 10-3, 10-3, 10-3, and 8-5. So, he had a really good year with Rudock, but it wasn't necessarily any better than the couple years after. His big problem is he went 8-5 last year, and even with Rudock, he lost to Ohio State.
Well, Stanley better watch out. He's probably going to come recruiting.
Well, yeah, wouldn't that be it? I don't think. I guess if Peyton Mansell or Spencer Petras beat out Nate Stanley, then maybe he would. But Nate Stanley, I know he was joking, but that is kind of. Jake Rudock left Iowa because he got beat out.
Well, there are 2 completely compelling rule changes this year that I think are going to really change a lot of things. Kickoff is one, and then the 4 games that players can play without.
Yeah.
And it's going to be fascinating to me to see how it affects the games.
Well, it will be interesting, but and I'm not knocking Kirk. You know how we always get the build up and think that certain things will happen, but if they're close games, they're not going to throw in their backup quarterback just to enjoy this rule.
Not at all.
So I don't want to make too big a deal out of this because if it's 20-17 in the third quarter against you and I, there, hey Spencer, let's take advantage of this rule and
go deep, Spencer.
Get in there. That ain't going to happen. So
not
we'll
at
see.
all.
But it is the nice thing is, let's say Nate Stanley suffers a minor injury to where he maybe ends up missing the fourth quarter of a game.
Mm-hmm.
You can put whoever. It gives you that type of. If Spencer Petras is better than Peyton Mansell in that moment, you can put him in and know that as long as you keep it at 4 games or under, you're not losing a year of eligibility.
That's right.
That's how it's
it would have affected Nate Stanley very much.
Yes.
Drew Tate.
Without question.
Cost himself a year.
No, you're right. Without question.
Hello.
Is this Suter?
Yeah, yes.
Hey, I wanted to have you call me this morning. I give Molly the message.
Oh, is this the
LG?
Yeah, LG, the vacuum guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm on the air, so I can't call you yet.
Call me when you get done.
I will.
LJ.
Yeah.
LJ or
LG.
LG?
LG.
LG. Hey, Suter.
Yeah, we've known LG forever.
Yeah, forever.
There you go. Well, hello, LG.
Okay, if you got any other calls for Suter. Suter's taking more calls than the gym class has this week.
I didn't see that one coming, and I should have, because it was right there. It was right there, wasn't it?
It was. It was.
Now, what if all of a sudden you hear from YouTube and they say you can't make fun of your guys up the street?
Then we stop using YouTube.
Stop using
Then we're turning this baby off.
Yeah.
Steve's voice will be stilled. I'm sure this will be important.
Hello?
Hey, guys. How you doing today?
Hey, how you doing? Is this Dave from Bettendorf? How you doing?
Good, Pat. Good show with you and Tom and the captain today. And hey, I was going to ask, you get a chance to ask Coach what he thinks about the kicking game. I know Miguel Racinas had an outstanding year last year, and I'm hoping he can duplicate that. And I saw where Keith Duncan, an article about him about a month ago in the Des Moines, where he's working hard. But I guess I'm focusing in on our punters, Ryan Gersani and Colin Rathstadter. Did you hear much about?
He made one comment about it that I saw.
And basically, in those types of situations, Kirk's going to say, "I like their effort. Got to get better." I mean,
what did he say? The exact quote was something like, "We were very underwhelming last year," or something like that.
Yeah, he's not sugarcoating it, but Kirk's also not going to be overly critical of single out any names. But yes, punter's an issue, and regardless of what Kirk says, nothing's going to be answered until they start punting. Kirk could be saying, "All right, Colton Rathstadter's been booming the ball like I've never seen before." That doesn't mean anything until he starts to do it in the game. And punter, to me, you could make a strong case that punter's the biggest concern on the team outside of maybe linebacker. Would you agree?
Linebacker, and I'm still concerned about wide receiver.
Oh, wide receiver, too. You're right.
And running back, too.
But no, Kirk's been pretty consistent throughout spring and summer about the punter is they got to get better. That's basically
quarterback. There's a lot of concerns.
Yeah, but they got to get better at punter. But I think the Racino situation, I know I saw that Keith Duncan, your story. Keith Duncan's a good trooper. He's a good teammate. He's staying with it. He got beat out, and I don't anticipate Keith Duncan doing any kicking this year unless Miguel Racino's completely falls apart or gets hurt. I thought Miguel Racino's by the end of the year was one of the most improved players on the team.
He was terrific.
I thought he was really good.
Yeah,
he became pretty reliable.
He came on strong and really just had an outstanding year. And like you guys were saying, the punting game is a big part of our defense, and field position is a big thing every year for the Hawks. And so, God willing, one of those young guys will step up. Hey, could you go back over? I know you're near the end of the show. Who are the guys that aren't? Was there several guys you mentioned? Spencer Williams. Was he done for?
Yep. Concussion
injury and
concussion problems. Kyle Taylor, they didn't say what his injury was. Tokes Akronabadi, of course, that's been a lingering problem. He's had a health issue that he has not revealed publicly, so I can't say what it is. Nate Whelan is gone. Manny Ragumba's gone. Romeo McKnight is gone. Cedric Boswell is gone. I think there's one more. There's one more. There's 8 altogether, I believe, that have left since the spring. And I just named off.
You said Boswell, right?
I said Cedric Boswell. There's still... Oh, Jacob Coons.
Yes.
Jacob Coons, the tight end from Solon. I think those are the 8.
Is that, I know you said there's still a chance that he might come back, or I know you were talking about a week ago.
His message on Twitter was kind of weird. It didn't say that he was leaving the team permanently. It said he was taking a step away from football to focus on academics. So I don't know. He could come back. I would be kind of surprised if he did. It sounds like he's staying at Iowa to be a student. Same with Spencer Williams.
He would just really fall behind, though.
Yeah, it would be tough. And he plays a position. Let's face it. Jacob Coons, no knock on him. Probably wasn't going to play a lot this year at tight end. There's a lot of guys in front of him.
Pretty tough. Hey, 2 quick things. Is the press day coming up this weekend or early next
August
week?
10th.
Is that when they start fall practice?
No,
August
they start
3rd.
August 3rd at 6:50.
Yeah,
6:50 p.m. at night. They have a night practice.
And I'll be up at Kelly Clarkson in Cedar Rapids.
Oh, well, you should have a good time. Hey, one last thing. Great interview by all 3 of you guys with Captain Kirk last week. That was a great interview, and he's a class guy, like you said, so we're lucky to have him. So go Hawks, and have a good day, guys.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Great call, Dave. Thanks.
How are you listening to us today?
I listen to you on the radio in between some static, but I'm catching. Hey, I mentioned WMT Cedar Rapids. I know you guys hear that, and they always had Leo Greco on for 45 years. And
Yeah.
they had Jim Goins. It sounds like they ran into the same deal. I've been kind of frustrated because I used to call in requests for my wife and me on wedding anniversaries and things like that. It sounds like the FCC's
they decided not to pay for royalties, is what they decided.
Is that what it was? That's what I was wondering after you were talking there, Tom, or Captain. I can't remember who I'm talking to here between you guys. You both sound like brothers there sometimes.
Well, I think
Steve has the cartoon voice. I have a very mature voice.
If I might be incorrect in this, but I think I heard J.J. Cook, the operations manager of the station, say, "Screw the old people." Now that's what
That's not an exact quote.
Yeah, that's not an exact quote, and I might have made it up, but it sounds like something he'd say.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've met him once or twice at Fry Fest, but Frank Ballvance was a class guy, and we know Leo Greco was a great guy, and so I don't know, like you say, it was a great show, and
they just decided not to pay the royalties, and it's not just WMT, it's the whole iHeart chain. They pay royalties for some stations, but not for news talk stations.
That's too bad. Well, hey, you at least clarify what I've been trying to figure out for quite a while there, bud. So you guys have a great day, and God bless you, and go Hawks.
Thanks, Dave. Appreciate it.
Go Hawks.
Thanks, guys.
Wow, I look up, it's 10:33. Callers make it so much easier.
They do.
They really do.
Yeah, callers.
And they make it more fun, and they make it more unpredictable.
And they make the time go by a lot faster.
They make the time go by. Callers are good.
I see this one coming. This one's coming. I'm ready for this one.
I'm not. No.
Now you can't do it since you're not surprising. You were going there. You were going
That's
right.
Not necessarily.
You were going right
you
there.
You don't know where I was going.
You know what's funny? This is complete. I don't know why it made me think of this. I've gotten to this thing with my dog now where I'll take a milk bone and break it in half, and I'll put one into his meal, and he eats it before his meal. And then I take the other half of it, and I go out into the living room, and I put it on my glass coffee table in the same spot. So now he eats the one in the bowl, but before going to eat the rest of his food, he goes out to that darn table every time and finds that other piece and eats it before I want him to eat it afterwards, and then he comes back. But I also find him, I'll let him in from going out to be outside. He goes to that freaking coffee table every time now, wondering if there's a treat for him.
Well, you never know.
You never know. And sometimes I put him there, but it's just kind of funny how dogs get so used to routines.
We had pizza, and you got to give him.
I don't give my dog any of that stuff.
No, he's got
not pizza, steak and bread.
Well,
meat and bread,
pizza crust.
Well, pizza
a little crust, just not sauce. And
no, I'm not giving him the sauce or anything, but I'm giving him the crust after we get done.
Don't need loose stools. Although I think that'd be a good name for a band.
It is. We checked that.
We've already checked
once.
it.
Yeah.
Great name for a band.
Yeah. So, we shared the pizza crust with him and everything. But then she still goes upstairs and wants her treat.
Oh, yeah, they get into their dogs are so routine.
And it's right at 7.
I just find it funny because there's times where I'm like, what's he – oh, wait. Because he's always staring at my coffee table now, looking for – thinking there's something
gave
there.
Charlene was a Siamese cat we had. She died about 10 years ago. But we once put some filet mignon in her bowl, and she ate it, and boy, for days after that, she kept going to check her bowl.
That's so funny. One time, I also like to take those milk bones. My dog's getting kind of old, so he's not as alert anymore. I'll put the milk bone on top of his back. And I'll be like, "Where's your treat?" And he'll walk around the house. And it's mean, but it's fun. That's why you have. But then eventually, I knock it off and he eats it. I let him eat it, but it's just kind of funny that I'll be like, "Where's your treat? Where's your treat?" And it's on his back, and he doesn't realize that.
Hello.
That says more about me than the dog.
Yeah, you're mean.
It's
now is this? Can we still have fake Dirk on?
Yes. Okay.
This date in 2000, the Concorde jet crashed, killing 105 people on board and 4 people on the ground. Hey, Pat.
Yeah. I don't mean to laugh at the plane.
Your trip to Chicago sounds about like my marriage.
Okay.
Oh, my God. We're not supposed to laugh at that, are we?
No.
No, I'm not laughing.
No.
Stop smiling.
I'm still floored by the $14 hash browns. I'm having trouble wrapping my mind around that.
Then you haven't stayed at many downtown Chicago hotels.
Oh, actually, we have. We just don't eat at them.
Oh,
usually.
okay. Yeah, and see, the $14, I thought the $17.50 fruit bowl, but fruit's expensive. You go to Hy-Vee just to get one of those containers, it's like $8-9. It's like, that's why I don't eat healthy. I do it. I would love to eat healthy, but I just can't. I can't afford to eat healthy. Can you? No. I love fruit, but it's awfully expensive.
Yeah.
It really is expensive.
I was at Hy-Vee the other day. We were having a few folks over, and I was looking for like a quarter of a watermelon that's cut, but but it wasn't there. They had an individual They
didn't have the slices?
They had like 7 or 8 slices.
How much was it?
$9.
Yes.
I said, what?
To get like 2 of those, you're dropping $20.
Oh, no. I mean, I was
in fairness
shocked.
to Hy-Vee, fruit's expensive everywhere.
I ended up getting one of those smaller containers of cubed watermelon, and it was $6.
And it was gone. You could eat a sparrow couldn't live on. No, because I'm trying to eat more fruit and what have you, but it's expensive to eat fruit.
It is.
It really is. So I guess I'll just.
I had a bag of
Doritos,
Lay's, those Poppables. God, those are good.
Lay's are good.
What are Poppables?
They're potatoes, but they're like
different shape.
Different shape, and they got.
No, it's good. Now, just for some,
good.
we can't even play the song "Popcorn" anymore, can we?
No, not at all.
No, damn it, Pat!
Did you hear that? All of a sudden, you got the YouTube CEO in the office by 5:00 today,
banned everywhere in the universe,
demanding answers. All right, we better go because I've just got this desire to sing, and I can't.
So you got some police reports to do?
Yeah, we got police reports, and we'll go out to the fair. We'll talk to Hunter and
allhawkeyes.com. Get your subscription today.
1-800-800-ROSE. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist is the only number you need to know to send flowers anywhere in the country or Canada from anywhere in the country. 1-800-800-ROSE. It's so easy. Just remember one number. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist.